But last night, GBNews star Nigel Farage made quite the splash over in Washington, D.C. at the Conservative Political Action Conference, or CPAC, a gathering of Republican supporters. Here is what he told the crowd.
And whilst I still have some reservations about the way in which the electoral system has been cleaned up state by state, and I still have some concerns about that, I'm still in no doubt that on November the 5th, we're going to get Donald Trump back elected and in the White House.
Let's get reaction now from one of America's most influential Republican voices, Donald Trump's former Chief of Staff, Mick Mulvaney, and joining us live from the CPAC conference in Washington, D.C., Drew Allen, broadcaster, political commentator, and the author of this brand new best-selling book, which has got America talking. It's called America's Last Stand. Will you vote to save or destroy America in 2024? So, Mick Mulvaney and Drew Allen, welcome to Mark Dolan tonight. Mick Mulvaney, your reaction to what Nigel Farage had to say about your former boss, Donald Trump?
Oh, it's right. It's exactly what you would expect from Nigel. This is not his first time in CPAC. I know when I was chief of staff and we had taken the president over there a couple of times, Nigel is a regular on the CPAC stage. So people know him. They're familiar with him. They know why he's important and why he's famous. So it was very interesting to I was watching the panel discussion earlier to have Nigel explain to the people there what happened at Big Ben over the weekend with the from the river to the sea being projected on the side of the building. That was a big deal here. That rings very true to us. That sounds like it's out of place. And of course, most of what Nigel said would fall on fertile fields at CPAC. It's a very conservative group. But no, he's a regular. He always does extraordinarily well. He's an excellent speaker. And of course, last night was no exception.
Drew Allen, congratulations on the success you've had with the book. Many of the themes that Nigel referenced are in your book. You're at CPAC as we speak. How did Nigel's speech go down?
Well, it went down tremendously. Yes, he's speaking to fertile soil, as was said correctly. But, you know, what's interesting about it is he understands the existential nature of the 2024 election. And that has been a theme. And that's something that was echoed by Trump as well. And that's so important that we understand the gravity of what's at stake for 2024, because every American, and it's not just the thing about CPAC 2 and Nigel and everything else, is that this is worldwide what's going on. A discussion about what the role of government is supposed to be in our lives. And America is supposed to be the gold standard of that, with a constitution that says we, the people, are master and those in government are servant. But of course, it's been flipped, and other countries are also fighting for their freedom. So Nigel's tremendous, and it was wonderful to see his presence here. It was my first CPAC, actually.
Mick Mulvaney, whilst I've got you, Donald Trump has just finished his keynote to CPAC. Did he have anything interesting to say? He normally does.
He normally does. What's fun for me is I sort of watch, because you can tell when you've seen Trump speak enough when he's going off the teleprompter and when he's sort of riffing. He spoke for an hour and a half today. The speech as written out was probably 45 minutes. So that's 2 to 1 in terms of the amount of just making stuff up as he went. He's really good when he does that. It was pretty basic themes. He did not mention Nikki Haley. Today, as I sit here in South Carolina, is the South Carolina Republican primary. Trump is expected to win by at least 20 and maybe as many as 30 points. It's got a lot of Republicans wondering why Nikki Haley is still in the race. But what I think you saw today, yes, Trump was speaking to CPAC, which is a Republican primary base, right? But he's going to start transitioning now, effectively today, into his general campaign, his general election campaign against Joe Biden. So you might see the language change a little bit. But the one thing about Donald Trump is he doesn't really know two speeds. He's all in all of the time. So he will begin his campaign now in full against Joe Biden, and there will be continued fireworks every single day for the next, 8 months.
Now, Drew Allen, Nigel Farage was effusive in his support for Donald Trump as the Republican nominee for the presidential race and, of course, to become president in January of 2025. Of course, the election is in November. What are the major obstacles that face Donald Trump between now and then?
Well, it's the continued political persecution, the lawfare that's going on, them trying to put him in prison. Of course, I mean, that's a great obstacle. I think that ensuring that our elections are as cleaned up as possible is another obstacle. But I think that, as long as he stays on target, I think that he moved the right direction. I was in the room when he spoke today. He's very much like the George Washington for our time, and I say that seriously. He's moving past factionalism. He's talking about we're the party of common sense. He's speaking to the American citizen. He's going to be an American president. Forget the factions. Those don't matter. We are going down in a dumpster fire right now. And as he pointed out, too, in there, he said we're going to lose the country if we don't reelect him. But look, he went off the teleprompter basically the whole time. And I would challenge any American to have been in that room or to hear a speech like that and not love the man, because he obviously loves us and America because he's so funny. He told so many stories. We were laughing hysterically, and he's a human being, and that's the bond he has with the voter.
However, Mick Mulvaney, do you have reservations about the possibility of Donald Trump returning to the White House, given the fact that we had the debacle of January the 6th, which was something of a national crisis for America, and the fact that the president still hasn't accepted the result of the last election?
Mark, what I really worry about going into a potential second Trump term, and let's make it perfectly clear, as between Trump and Biden, I will be supporting Donald Trump, period, end of story. Biden is a real problem. We can talk about that more if you want to another time. The thing that concerns me most about Trump, and probably what contributed heavily to January 6th, is the folks in the very inner circle around him. As I explained to people, we began the first term with senior advisors that included the CEO of ExxonMobil and the president of Goldman Sachs. We ended with a senior advisor who sells pillows at night on Fox News. That's not an exaggeration. That's a real comparison. And I'm worried about his ability to get really good people. There are some good names coming out. You hear Mike Pompeo's name come up again. He's an excellent potential cabinet member. You hear Stephen Mnuchin is showing his face on television again. If he could come back into the government, that would be great. There's some big names in the Republican Senate who might come to work for Donald Trump, and that is fantastic. But I do worry that there's a group around him that is not going to be at the highest level. He needs the best people on that inside, in that inner level, inside the Oval Office. And if he doesn't get that, the presidency could struggle.
Mick, finally, if Donald Trump has the right team, will he be a better president than first time round?
Oh, I think so. I think Trump's greatest weakness and his strength in the first term, Mark, was that he didn't understand Washington, D.C. Again, that was a strength and a weakness. Now he understands Washington, D.C. I know the work that his team has been doing in preparation for the second term to try and fight back against the deep state. When Trump won in 2016, it took everybody by surprise, including him. No one's going to be surprised this time if he wins, and the team will be able to hit the ground running. And I think you'll see a more effective, more efficacious Trump 2.0 than you saw in the first term.
Drew Allen, we heard from Nigel Farage last night. He spoke for 15 to 20 minutes. We also heard from our former Prime Minister, Liz Truss, at CPAC. Is it important that Conservatives across the West unite?
Yes, because what we've discussed more and more is globalism. There is a worldwide effort to reduce civilization to tyrannies and have a ruling elite over everyone. And so, yeah, it's very important that we have world leaders on the same page. I mean, the Argentinian president was here speaking, Milei. I mean, this is an amazing movement that's happening, and people that are on the right side of history, if you will, are unifying over this message and recognizing what we're fighting against, which is the same thing we've always been fighting against: tyranny.
My sincere thanks to Mick Mulvaney, Donald Trump's former chief of staff, top Republican voice in the United States, and Drew Allen, who's the author of America's Last Stand: Will You Vote to Save or Destroy a Democracy, America in 2024? That's right, America's Last Stand, out now. Drew Allen and Mick Mulvaney, thank you for your time.